So it's fairly easy to figure out what the divorce rate is. It's about 40% for first marriages, about 2/3 of second marriages end in divorce, and over 70% of third marriages end in divorce. It's a little bit harder to figure out whether or not people who stay married are actually happily married. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. My name is Lesli Dories, and I am the creator of the Hero Husband Project and owner of Foundations Coaching. And the truth of the matter is that there's been a suggestion that only about 3 in 10 of people of marriages are actually what they're both members of the marriage would say are happy. And what I want you to know is this isn't your fault if you're one of these people who is settling for a less than marriage. Because honestly, people aren't really taught how to be married. We fall in love, which is relatively easy. We decide that we want to build this life with somebody, and then we go for it. And a lot of the advice that people are given, quite frankly, is really bad advice. So if you are in the 70% of marriages that aren't what you want them to be, the truth of the matter is there is help. But we don't talk about this. I remember when my kids were little, and I was having difficulty maybe getting them to sleep or potty training them or some other thing. And I would go to my friends and I would say, hey, did you have this issue? And how did you solve it? And when we have trouble in our jobs, we will find mentors. We will talk to our friends about the situation. And we do not do that about our marriages. There are a lot of people who, if you mention getting help for their marriages, their response is, oh, there's nothing wrong. But how many of you have known somebody who you thought that from the outside their marriage was pretty good, and then they got divorced? And even in our fairy tales and our movies, in our rom-coms, we get boy meets girl, they struggle, boy gets girl. They ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. And then the next time we see them is maybe they get divorced. We don't see what's going on in the middle, right? And we just had a recent movie called A Marriage Story that made me crazy because they could have gotten help. That marriage could have survived. But when we're told that marriage is hard, it's hard work, right? When you're told that marriage is about making the other person happy, when you're told that love is all you need, and then you run into these struggles and you think, well, it's supposed to be this way because everybody says it's hard work. But what if it wasn't? What if you had a way to create and have the marriage that you want? And I'm going to tell you, it does not require sacrifice, and it doesn't even require compromise. What it requires are skills and knowledge. So if you think about it, think about your favorite sports team, right? And they have a really bad season. And in the off season, they're trying to figure out how to make it better. Now, one of the things that they do is that they trade for other people. But if the system isn't functioning, the new people aren't going to fit. That's why the marriage statistics or the divorce statistics get worse with subsequent marriages. To quote Oscar Wilde, second marriages are a question of hope over experience, right? But here's the deal. When you are part of a marriage, you have a built-in scapegoat. Everything is focused on your partner. And if you don't understand or learn what you're bringing to the table, then guess what? The second, third, fourth time around, you're going to be bringing the same stuff, and you're going to end up with the same result, which is why second, third, fourth, fifth marriages end at a higher rate than first marriages do. And my goal isn't to have your marriage end. My goal isn't to have you settle for a marriage that does not bring you a sense of joy and comfort and connection, because that's why we all get married in the first place. If your marriage isn't like that, then I invite you to do something about it. First off, you aren't broken because nobody has had to take a relationship 101 class. Most of us are just winging it. And when things go haywire, we've got somebody to put the responsibility on. Now, yes, your partner is adding to the relationship. They are bringing things to the table that may or may not be productive. But you are too. And when we get caught up in focusing on our partners instead of where we have 100% control, which is over ourselves, then that's where the problem comes in, right? Most of irreconcilable differences are not irreconcilable. And that's one of the things that makes me really crazy about movies like A Marriage Story, is that there were things that could be done differently. But unless we get some input from outside of ourselves, we're going to keep doing the same thing. Think about LeBron James. He's got at least 5 coaches that I know about because he can't see what he's doing. If his shot is off, he's got somebody to say, hey, did you know you're pulling to the left? Oh, now we can fix it. But if he just blames the basket, it's not going to go anywhere. And, marriage, I get it. Marriage is very personal. And we don't want people to know we're struggling, except for the fact that almost everybody is. And it's because of the information you've been given. When you hear that marriage is hard work and your marriage takes hard work, oh, I'm doing it right. No, you're doing it the hard way. And finding out what a better way is what I do. So if you want to actually have a marriage that you really love, not just your partner, because I know most people love their partners, but if you want a relationship that is supportive and that gives you a sense of connection, then I invite you to get in touch with me. You can leave me a direct message down below. You can put a comment in the section. In the section down below. You can email me at leslie@foundationscoachingnc.com, because I want you to know what works. I want you to have the marriage that you desire and deserve. I'd also like it if you would subscribe to the channel and give me your comments. What is it that you find the most challenging and difficult about your marriage? Let me know and I'll answer it in another video. So until next week, stay loving.